internet. Time for the weekly stream again. So I'm still making a Regency waistcoat sort of thing for myself. Last week I did the pattern drafting. I've changed my mind about a couple of things in the meantime, but I've also been cutting some of the pieces. So I've only cut the main body pieces so far. So just the 4 panels that go around the body. I haven't cut any of the facings yet or any of the lining because I suspect I might change my mind on a couple of things. The main thing is the collar, which I also haven't cut because, you know, I did some math on where it should end and stuff, but it wasn't very good math. I had it ending something like 5 centimeters onto this front piece, and then I looked up how much that actually was, and it's not a lot, so I think I might need to make the collar longer. But I'm just gonna assemble the body and then see where we're at when I put it on, I think. So I've cut everything, I've tacked it, I just need to sort of cut it open, and then we can get going. So I think I'm just gonna start at the center back and work my way to the front. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. So, need to separate this. I've got a pretty generous seam allowance, something like 2 centimeters at least. Is that what I did? Yep. And that would allow me to make changes to the fit if I still need them. I hope I don't, but you never know. So just opening this up so I can cut the 2 halves loose. As you can see, I've also left quite a lot at the bottom. That's intended to be a sort of facing, because it's quite normal for jackets and waistcoats to have the bottom edge sort of folded over and then meeting the lining somewhere on the inside. I didn't want to be too exact about it, so I just left a bunch. I'm also kind of curious when I sew this together how the sway back correction that I did on the back panel is actually going to pan out. Because I did the thing where I also sort of transferred, well, when you do the correction, the center back stops being straight, and I wanted to make straight again, so I transferred some extra to the side seam. And it felt kind of dodgy and weird. The internet said I could do it, but let's see how that actually turns out when I put it on. Okay, that's the back pieces opened up. A lot of red dust everywhere suddenly. Should have maybe done this before the stream, because it's kind of boring. Oh well. Better luck next time. It's a little bit warm still to put on a waistcoat. It's not as searing hot as it was last week, but I'm not that much looking forward to putting this on. Try it on, if I'm honest. Okay. So here we have a center back panel. And let's attach one of these. Let's see, so this is going to be the good side, and they should be right sides together. So I should flip this over, and then this goes here. Yep. Let's get this pinned up. So the one thing that I'm not gonna stitch at first is going to be the shoulder seam, because I've seen that if you want to do the lining and sort of flip it, I don't like stitch it inside out and then flip it, there's sort of a trick with, well, with jackets, I think it's called bagging a lining, and you do a really weird unintuitive thing with the sleeves, which you can't here because there are no sleeves. And so the trick for doing the lining on waistcoats seems to be that you leave the shoulder seam open, then you stitch all the lining and the outside together, and then you sort of put the shoulder seams into each other. Hey, welcome back. I see you're here again. So there seems to be some kind of trick where you then shove the shoulder seams together and make it real nice. I think it's actually what happened on the waistcoat that I looked at from the store. If you look at it, you see that, whoops, like all the lining is pretty smooth around all of these edges, but then you see there's just the tiniest difference here, which I think is because this is the last seam that they actually stitched. So it seems to be a legit thing, and I'm gonna try it too. So I'm just gonna be basting or pinning together the shoulder seams as I try it on. See where we end up. I've also been up to some other crafty things this week. I made some sunscreens for my window, so it wouldn't be that damn hot. It's kind of working. And also, I fell into a kind of rabbit hole with embroidery and beading. I don't know, it started out with, I want to do cool embroidery, you know, like the ones on the Game of Thrones costumes. And then I looked at it and it had beads in it, so I started Googling embroidery with beads. And then I ended up with people who embroider only beads. And then I ended up with people who don't even embroider the beads. Hey! Welcome back, Cheerful Something Something. And so by the end of my embroidery rabbit hole, I'm suddenly into bead weaving. I don't know exactly how I ended up there, but it's cool. maybe next week's stream will be nonsense with beads. And whether it's going to be sort of mixed media embroidery or making beaded brooches, what is, how do I even pronounce that in English? Or making jewelry, I'm not sure yet, but I ordered a bunch of stuff and I want to use it, so I think it might be time for a beading stream next week. Alright, I'll just also pin up the other one before I grab the sewing machine. So, are any of you making anything right now? Oh, it's a lovely color? Yes. It is quite burgundy, yes. I think the screen, at least my screen, is doing a fairly accurate job. It's like burgundy, but vaguely purplish. And I like vaguely purplish a lot, so kind of my jam. So do you have any experience doing embroidery? Because I could use your advice, I suppose. I want to do, like, it started out with, I want to do some kind of, like that Game of Thrones stuff where you make like an animal, but it's got all beads and sequins in there as well, and shiny thread and whatever. So I got an embroidery hoop and some thin needles for the beads. But then I kind of fell into this whole, you can take cabochons and put beads around them and stuff. So if you have advice on, like, I looked at a couple of YouTube videos on how to do sort of freehand embroidery, and it looks fairly intuitive. Like, if you want somewhere to have color, then you make a stitch across it. And if you want a larger area to have color, you just keep going. But should probably just try it and then I'll have questions. But what kind of stuff do you embroider? Why is this not lining up properly? I've got these marks here, but why is it not the same? Whoops. I'm gonna start from the top and see if it matches from there. So Yukimiko, what do you embroider? Like, what's a project that you made? It seems to check out from the top, so why is it not checking out from the bottom? Let's check if that's, if I did that. Here I've got the marks. In theory, this is the same. It's possible that this is very slightly longer because it's a little bit curved. I'll take it. I just wiggle it around a bit and call it a day. Sort of spread it out a bit and then it'll disappear. Alright, sewing machine time. look like. At the moment, you're doing a few full coverage cross stitches. Oh yeah, cross stitching seems like this sort of, well, it had this really old-fashioned image in my mind, and then I realized that it's essentially pixel art, but with with embroidery. And I was like, oh, actually, there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with that. And you have embroidered lace applicators, and ooh, embroidered lace seems like that's probably tricky. Working on embroidery for an orange. Oh, you're doing the Worth gown. Cool. That has to be a huge project, though. Where's my thread? Oops. I don't have a pet Worth gown quite yet, but maybe I will someday. Not sure. Like, I was watching that Worth gown panel during CocoVid 2 weeks ago, and they were saying, oh, the really distinctive thing about Worth is that the designs were so simple and almost minimal for the time. And I'm like, no, it's still a huge amount of detail. Okay. Oops. Still got that. Let's put it to a more reasonable stitch length. And this is the part where I stitch right on top of all of my markings, making them impossible to remove. And yet I cannot bring myself not to do it because I like being accurate as hell. I'm gonna try to stitch just inside them, but no guarantees. Why is it feeling weird? Why is it not making any stitches? What's going on? There's perfectly fine bits of thread coming out of the top and the bottom. What is happening? Oh, I was making I'm an idiot. Sorry, the thread is silk in the original. That'll be a... Ooh. Oh, wow. That seems like a hell of a project. So, I thought I wasn't stitching because I saw a thread lying across my fabric. But actually it was the thread from the beginning that was just dragged along by the foot, and I was stitching all along, and nothing is actually wrong. The roller coaster of my life. Okay. Let's get back then. Embroidered lace is nothing else than tiny cross stitches. So when I envision embroidered lace, I sort of see like a netted fabric with like flowers and stuff embroidered into it. How does it resemble cross stitching? Do you have... Well, I'm not sure you can post a link in the thread because it's probably anti-spam stuff, but is there something I can Google? Well, let's see if I can Google embroidered lace. Let's just start with that. Yeah, or embroidering lace. I'm not sure I'm getting a good... Oh, this looks... I'm seeing... No, that also doesn't make sense. No, I cannot imagine embroidered lace, I guess. So, if you would care to explain how it's done, that would be great. Because I'm just envisioning embroidering tulle, and it seems like a nightmare. Really warm up here. I'm gonna try opening the window and see if it's hotter inside than outside. This is better. Alright, that's seam number 1. Let's go for seam number 2. There's a book on archive.org and you have a net fabric in your hoop. Then with a yarn as fine as hair, you stitch in your design. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, do you just sort of weave through it and then it sort of stays there? Feels kind of folded. Uh-oh. Oh no, I think we're still good. Steam it when finished? Does that sort of set it, the steaming? Or how does that work? Whoops. Alright. I think I'm gonna just assemble the whole thing first and then press it real quick, so I don't have to get up all the time. But this looks reasonable so far. So this is the next piece. This is so satisfying to like hold this open and pull it. I don't know. I absolutely hate putting it in, but this part is good. Sort of have this love-hate relationship with tacking. Where's my scissors? Scissors? Hello? Tacking just sort of, I don't know, takes a long time, it's annoying to do, but then you do have the perfect marking, like it's exactly the same on both pieces, and you can see it from both sides of the fabric, and it pretty much guaranteed to come out, except when you stitch right over it and you have to pull it, but it's just so much more work, but then it's so much better than chalk. I don't know. Steam helps the fibers relax, a bit of vinegar holds it better. Oh! I suppose you could also starch it slightly to keep it in place. Oh, there's so many potential skills to learn. Like, I also looked at, whose video was that? Making their own lace. That lady who wrote Enchanted Garden, I think, was doing videos on making her own lace. And it, on the one hand, I'm like, wow, it's so much work, and you can just buy a piece of lace that is similar for not even close to what that should realistically cost. On the other hand, I'm like, oh, you can do custom lace? You can do any design you want lace? So, if I ever make something where I have very strict opinions on what the lace should look like, I'm probably definitely gonna make it just because. Because putting insane amounts of time into something just so you can have a marginally better result is so worth it. Yeah, Enchanted Oh, yeah, that's what I mean. What is Enchanted Garden? Is that also a thing? Ah. Yeah. Okay, let's put these in. Oh, I also haven't decided where I'm going to put the pocket yet. I'm just going to put it on and then hold my hand like this and figure out where I want it. So that's also still to be determined. I think my markings are a bit more reliable on this side, so I'll start over here. Looks good. Do you make bobbin lace? Like, I've looked at videos for that, and it is just... How do you even remember where the bobbins go? There's so many of them. But yeah, the dedication of spending hours and hours to make something that is just a tiny bit better than what you buy in the store. For almost no money. Is, you have to be a special kind of nerd for that, and I am totally here for it. Like, that is exactly the kind of nerd people should be. It's one side. All right. Check out Irish crochet lace. Doing it the old way. Yeah, that seems like you could probably host workshops on like. It would be so charming if you had an old-timey house and you would just host workshops on how to do bobbin lace and stitching. All these things. You also want to do everything else the old way, like ironing with a bunch of coals or whatever. I think that's how it works, right? You open up the iron, you put some hot coals in it, and then you go to town. Okay, stitchy stitchy. There are so many just craft rabbit holes to go into. Just like you're saying, there's so many different types of making lace, and when I was going into my beads rabbit hole, I found out videos where they have all this terminology about what exact shape the beads are, how many millimeters, and they talk about it like everyone watching that video knows exactly what a 3 millimeter whatever. I even forgot the names. They're like, oh, I got some 3 millimeter something something's 5 mil this, 5 mil that, so blah blah blah. It's like, if you do that stuff for long enough, that sounds like a perfectly natural sentence, and I have no clue what you're talking about. Why is it making so much noise? I'm making everything from scratch. Oh, yeah! You put the iron on the stove, right? That's the thing. Oh, wow. Like, you're pretty diehard about doing everything, like, from scratch. That's cool. I have to say I like my modern comforts, but I do enjoy knowing how stuff is done if you've got no technology. Just the understanding, like, You get a different understanding of things when you learn how to do them from scratch. And even if you then never do them from scratch again, you will have a better understanding of it. Whoops. I keep bumping my sewing machine into my laptop. I should probably stop doing that. Alright, and the front. This is coming together pretty quickly. Ooh, don't come out, please. I need you. You have no sewing machine? Are you gonna like sew your Worth gown by hand? Because that sounds like a nightmare to me. Like, infinite respect, but I just couldn't. I would, like, tonight I will go to sleep and I will dream about making a Victorian gown. And I will wake up sweating, being like, they made me sew it all by hand. Alright, that's that. So everything by hand? Even quilts or crinolines and corsets? Wow. So what's with your hands that you're not sure whether you can keep using them? Did I forget to put a marking here? Oh, I'm trying to stitch it to the wrong side. Ha! That's why there's no marking. I got saved by my markings, because there was none, because I was trying to do it wrong. I'm an idiot. Okay, let's try that again. This is like one person's nightmare is another person's dream, apparently. But what's with your hands, if you don't mind sharing, because I might be asking for medical details. Is this lined up well? Why is this way too long? What is going on? Uh-oh. Alright, let's sanity check this. Wait, this is the back piece. That's also a back piece. We got this. And this. And it should go together like that. I know that I made the bust curve a teensy bit longer to make it more nicely curved, but it should not be this huge of a difference. Nah, pattern pieces are good. So it must be me screwing something up. You've got arthritis? Ooh. Wouldn't you, like, this might sound kind of backwards, but machine sew what you can so you finish your projects quicker and you can make more projects before your hands stop working? Or is that a really... But that has to be... That has to be rough. So since the pattern is good, I'm just going to start lining up the ends then and work towards the bust point. I thought I had it marked pretty good, but I have to say the fabric is a little bit, well, not stretchy, but it like, because it has a kind of felt-like texture, it tends to sort of rub itself along, if that makes any sense. Like if you push it, it'll shift. I think we're good. Let's put this back in. Oh, it slows down the stiffening process? Oh, that makes sense. So it's... That makes it like doubly meaningful to make stuff by hand. That's really cool, actually. Alright, that's good enough. Let's do the other side. Ow. Or did you never learned before? Yep. It's, So do you have any concrete plans for that sort of historical craft house thing? Or is it something that you're already doing but you want to extend it to a teaching thing? Seems a bit long. I don't think I had that problem on the other side, so it's probably something I did. I might have folded a little bit when I put it down. That seems good. Plans are made, currently working as a child educator. Yeah, it's also not really... Like, the plague times are maybe not the ideal time to start a workshop type business. Okay, I think that will be the final seam for now. And then I get to put it on! It'll be nice and warm. And see how it fits. Like, I'm already feeling warm just having some of this fabric on my lap as I pin it, so this is going to be a real joy to put it on. Okie dokie. Wait, why? Did I not even... Why are there no pins in here? Oh, because I didn't pin it. Wow, wow, wow. I am on a roll. I didn't... Okay. Yep, went right off the edge of the fabric. I'm a genius. I just started from the bust point, and then pinned everything downwards but not upwards. Let's try that again. Be a big farm of cows and sheep and grow on vegetables and cornflakes. Ooh. That sounds like a huge sort of historical reenactment project. So it'll also be sort of a B&B type thing? I'm also just gonna take it out of here. Even if probably I'm gonna stitch in this exact spot the second time, I just don't want double stitch lines. Screw that. Big fireplace. We're going to cook together. Ooh. Are you gonna force them to give up their smartphones? Gonna be a proper sort of retreat. All right. So I think I've removed all the offending stitches. Let's try pinning that for real this time. Oh, you're also gonna provide like period clothes for everyone? Wow, that's a huge project as well. Wow, that's huge. That's a lot of dedication. I really respect it. Alright, let's try this again, shall we? Yeah, that's... sure sounds like it. Well, maybe you can start with something smaller. Like, you can just... like, don't wait until you have everything to start getting customers, right? You can just start with yarn dyeing workshops. Or start with a historically inspired B&B before you have everything, and then just build on it. So that will allow you also to like fine-tune what you are offering to what people enjoy. And then you'll get some cash flow to do the rest with. Alright, so I have, in theory, a waistcoat, kinda. Let me just pin together the shoulder seams. Well, no, I'm gonna press it first. No, am I not gonna press it first? Because if I press it and the fit is not great, and I take out the seams, there's gonna be folds pressed into it, which is probably bad. So I'm gonna just pin it, try it. If I like it, press it and try it again. That seems wise. First thing finance next. Oh yeah. Bristol Beach Childcare Center. Oh, that's also an angle that I hadn't considered. Alright. Oh, this is really ugly. Why did I not consider this? I have a back seam that goes up to the shoulder and a front seam that goes up to the shoulder, and they don't match up. Do they not? Wait. What am I doing? Wait, no, this is the armhole. What am I doing? This. You guys. No, that's just casually like a centimeter or so different. I mean, it's not technically wrong, it'll fit, but you know, lesson learned for next time, I suppose. Probably looks a lot cleaner if those actually meet up in the middle. Whoops. I feel like I should have some kind of mistake counter or mistake trophy animation every time I realize I've screwed something up. It's a recurring theme, screwing things up. Alright, that's one shoulder seam pinned together. Let's do the other one. Can I trim it? You mean the... I mean... Not really. Because it... Well, I could move the seam line slightly because I have enough seam allowance. Like, if I, Let's put this together. Because the thing that's going on... Let's get rid of it. Let's do some theory crafting over what I screwed up. So, here we have the armhole from the front side. And here we have the armhole from the back. And they, at the shoulder, come together like this. Which, as you can tell, is not the same length. And that difference in length is made up on this piece, which is the center front, and this piece, which is the center back, which is where this one is a bit longer, and that one is a bit shorter. And if you put it all together, it fits exactly. So I would just have to move, probably I would move this forward slightly, or back slightly. Which I guess I can do, because I have enough seam allowance to do that. It's just a bit awkward. I'm not sure I want to either, because this is, I don't know. I'll pin it together, put it on, and see how much it bothers me, and then consider fixing it. But this is a whoopsie that I'm definitely not going to repeat again. So, putting these together. It's not technically wrong, just a bit awkward, and it could have been, I don't know. Because in theory, the location of those darts or seams matters for the fit, right? So, I will, like, in September, sewing class resumes, and I will ask whether I should have known that or not. And then, get told exactly how wrong I was. I feel it would have been nice if it had met exactly in the middle. Even if... I don't think you're supposed to line those up. Wait. Well, let's look this stuff up. Because this is like the standard body pattern thing. And nowhere does it say that these two bits need to be the same, I think. It probably suggests a similar amount. Off the top of my head, it suggests 4 to 6 over here. Let's see. This says 4 to 6, and G1 also 4 to 6. But here on the front, I've written make it 4. Okay, cool. Yeah. It doesn't say pick the exact same thing, but it does have the same suggestion for how much, which kind of suggests that you want to match them up. I don't know. Anyway, let's put it on. Let's just flip the camera so you can see what I'm doing, and I can see what I'm doing on the screen. Boop. I'm gonna try not to stab myself. I hope it will work out. One panel was the wrong way around. Oh man, that is such a... Oh, yep. I'm in some of those corset making groups, and that is an absolute nightmare. Realizing that it's upside down. I try to make enough markings on my pattern pieces that I basically can't put them in upside down without realizing stuff is terribly wrong. Alright. I'm just... Oh, it's so sweaty. I hate it. Oh my god. Okay, let's try to close at least some of it up. Get an idea of the fit. Alright, I'm gonna fold over one side. Line it up. And it down. Okay. This is not exactly how the fold will be, because right now I'm putting the fold on the center front. Where actually... Oh wait, no, this is not the center front. Ha! I'm saying that, but that's not true. That's not true. This is actually the edge. I was already wondering why I've got so much space up here. But actually, this is including the overlap. And the center front is 2 centimeters in. So actually, it should go more like that. Yep. It's a good thing I realized, because that would have been awkward. So this is the actual fold, and it just goes 2 centimeters further away than I thought it was going to. Oh, this is way tighter than I thought it was going to be. And I'm just gonna... Hold up. I need to just mark some of this, because this is driving me nuts. If the right goes over the left, which it does, for women at least, and I am one of those, so let's stick to that. Then this is the side that's going to have the overlap, and the overlap is going to be 4 centimeters in. I'm just gonna... Am I gonna chalk it? Is it gonna come out? I don't know. Let's try. Because I don't want to have to tack it, because I hate that. Oh yeah, dark gray chalk, probably not the best move. Does this open up again? Let's try that with white. I've also got a regular pencil. That comes out great. Okay. Oh wait, you can't see what I'm doing. I'm just gonna mark where the overlap at the center front should end. Because I'm pretty sure I put 2 centimeters on it. Yes. Alright. Let's try that again. So, let's try that again. Fold it over and put it on that line. Shoulders are really bulky right now. Hold up. Probably end up pinning this to my t-shirt at least, but oh well. Trying not to stab myself, that'll be the achievement. Alright, and then the curve starts right about here. I should probably have marked that. Where do we start? Corner is supposedly here-ish. Alright, so this should be similar to how it will close. I'm just gonna put some more light on because I can hardly see. I think that's actually a pretty reasonable fit. And the back doesn't look too scrunched up either, so it looks like that correction worked. There's a slight hint of wrinkles, but really not much. It's even a bit wide-ish in the hips, which I guess I'm gonna need because this shirt is reasonably bulky. I like this. I'm kind of tempted to... It does feel a bit tight in the waist. Yeah, I am very warm. I'm kind of tempted to put on the undershirt that I made and try it with that. Oh, how do my armholes look? Like, the armholes are comfy right now, and they're not even at their full... like, I haven't trimmed any of it back, so that seems reasonable. I'm gonna just take 5 and put on the undershirt that I made for it. Because why the hell not? So give me a sec, I'll be right back. I'll probably come back with a popsicle as well, because dang. Alright, I am so ready to spill red stuff all over my white shirt. Let's do it. But whoops, one of my shoulder seams came apart. Put that back in. Alright, one more time then. See if it will fit over these outrageous sleeves. It will be even wider if I ironed it. I mean, it will look slightly wider, but it will be physically as wide. Uh-oh. I heard some, like, seam cracky noise. Alright. based on what I felt when I put it on previously, I feel like the waist could maybe be a bit bigger in order to not be too restrictive, but we'll see. I'm gonna be quite minimal about how I pin it this time, but okay. Let's fold that back a little bit. Haha! But actually, not bad. It feels quite like normal and not... I can move in this, and yet it does look quite tailored. Let's get a white background on that. Yeah. It's got some shape to it. I'm quite alright with that. Now, the big question is the collar. But first, I must cool down. Because I'd marked the collar for right about there, which is only that much from the shoulder seam. So I think that might be a bit short actually. Wow, I put it down for like 2 minutes and it's already melting. So, where is that? Here. So, I should have probably marked it. Oh yeah. I need to finish my water so I can put my popsicle down. I can just spark it in the glass for a sec. So where is this? Exactly. Or where's my collar piece? I also redesigned the collar, by the way. Last week I made it this curved shape. I realized I wanted it to be more straight, so I made like a pointy thing out of it. So if this would be at the center back, which is like here-ish. Wow, this is impossible. So, just in a vacuum, let's do it the other way around. I'm already wearing it. If I wanted a collar to start somewhere, I'd want it to go maybe here-ish, like a little bit smaller than the shirt, but not too far back. So it would have to sit about here. That makes sense, I think. So if it goes straight down from there, we end up attaching it here-ish. I'll just put a pin there. See if that makes sense. Sort of. Where's my... Can't see what I'm doing. If I go straight up from there, you end up sort of like that. I think that's good. So now I'm going to take it off and see how much I screwed up last time. Let's flip this back around. Okay. Also, popsicle time. So where did I put my pin? Where did I put my pin? Hello? Oh, here it is. So that is way further than I put it, I think. Where the... I had my front panel here, right? Where did he go? Ah, here we are. So, theoretically, I would have put it... Oh, it's only about 2.5 centimeters further down from where I originally put it. But I think it makes a lot more sense. So let's extend that collar a bit. So instead of doing this, let's make it official. I'm gonna put the collar here. And then, what does that mean for this piece? It means it gets okay. Maybe I should have thought about that, but it gets 1.7 centimeters lower. Let's just make that 2. Screw this. There we go. This one, not that one. So 2 centimeters longer. I'm just going to tape that to the back, I guess. But also, I suspect that since it's now also sort of coming down the front, I'll need to extend the bottom a bit. Because initially, like, if you go 5 centimeters in, it's still quite on top of your shoulder. It starts sloping down a little bit, but not that much. And if you put a straight collar on that, it just sort of tilts it. If that makes sense. It's like, how can I demonstrate this? If your shoulder is coming like this, and the collar is being pulled down a bit like that by the front, that's just going to tilt the whole thing forward a bit, which is actually kind of what people's necks are like anyway. But if I'm going to pull it way further down, I might need to add some stuff over there. And I think I'm gonna just kind of improv that. And then when I cut it out of fabric, I'll just, once again, stick to a very generous seam allowance and hope for the best. Right, so 2 centimeters extra. Looks like that. And then now I'm saying I want the front to actually slope downwards a little bit. So let's do... How much down is it actually? If I've got this here. It's still quite on the curved side, so it's probably not a full 2 centimeters lower. Let's just call it 1 and a bit. Draw it like that. This is very much guesstimating, but honestly, I once asked my sewing teacher where the numbers for like extend this by 2 centimeters come from in my pattern drafting book. She was like, oh, just because it tends to work. So, you know, eventually everything is made up, right? It's just... And this needed to be, it was 14, now it needs to be 16, right? Measure that. I hate these things. So difficult to get into the right shape. Now a bit too long, so let's end it here, and then just make a curved-ish shape up. Seems reasonable. Or maybe a bit less. Something more like that. Seems plausible. This is also a slight extension. Tape, more tape. Sometimes you baking paper, crumble up and wet it, and then tap it with a dry towel and baste it in place. Oh! I never would have thought of that. So wet baking paper behaves like starched linen. That's... would not have seen that coming. Good to know. Is there any historical cooking class? So wait, you went to a historical cooking class and they told you, oh, by the way, if you make clothes, you can make baking paper behave like starched linen? That's awesome. Alright. What should I do first? Cut this or trim and fix, like... Let's iron this and finish the edges of this before getting to the collar. Just sort of a first things first kind of deal. Whoops, I think I'm losing more pattern pieces. I think my pocket went somewhere. Find it. Alright. It's excellent ironing weather, you know, so let's do it. My piece of ironing muslin. It's collected a bit of dust. I should probably treat it better. They use starched linen to cook with. Oh, really? That's a really good connection to make. Oops. Do they use the starched linen for like draining things? I've never experienced the need for starched linen in my kitchen. Alright, let's take the shoulder seams out. Or do they use it as like a mold release sort of? Do they use it as a kind of mold release, or what is the starch linen for? I need a bigger surface. And a ham is also what I need. They build meat scraps on the bones and oh, that makes sense. Sort of the same way that people now use sort of tea bag style things to put herbs and stuff in broths, so it's easy to remove them again. Oh, my stitching is off quite a bit over here. What did I do? I don't... I know probably no one's going to tell the difference between the 2 millimeters that I missed here, but I will know about it. I'm gonna iron the rest and redo that a little bit, because I will know. Oh geez, I'm so warm. I should probably get out of this shirt as well. It's a bit too poofy and insulating. Supposedly, this sort of flowy thing keeps you cool, but I think I just need less fabric. morning, done-ish. I'm gonna just very quickly change into something with a bit more airflow. It was nice trying this on, but I have enough data. Okay. They were very cooling back then. Oh yeah, it is true. Like, I looked at the, well, first of all, mine is not 100% linen. And yeah, the fabric is not quite as sort of transparent, translucent. I don't know. It's not as see-through-y and loosely woven as the things I think I see in the movies. Like, it's a bit more bulky and poofy, so I think if I ever do a remake, I will pick a different fabric, one that's a bit thinner, but where was that seam I screwed up? This one. Let's redo this bit. I don't mind if it's a tiny bit off. Well, depends what I'm making. If I was making a corset, this amount of off would not even be acceptable, but this is quite a lot to be missing. It was still good over, still good about here. Alright, I think that's enough. Yep. Let's get rid of this. So, let's just repin and restitch this real quick. And then try to make a collar. Alright, it looks lined up. Where is it now? Here we go. Wait, what? That is much more acceptable. Alright, let's cut a collar. I would cut the collar on the fold. awkward to... This is not even the right piece. Hold on. Where did I put it? Where is my new collar now? Hello? Hello, yes? Where? Oh no. What did I do with it? Everything is everywhere as well, so... Like, you should see the floor! These are all my body pieces. Accounted for. These are scrap pieces. Where did it just go? So, did anyone in the chat see where I put my collar piece? This is awkward. It can't be that hard. It's all scraps. Scraps. I'm just gonna pick up things from the floor until I find it, I suppose. Or I'll have to make a new one. With the grain line run along the short side. What do you mean by the short side? I mean the center back is where the grain line is gonna be, which is the, I guess, the shortest side I've got on that pattern piece, if I find it. How can it be missing? It's a heavy piece too, like, because I put a bunch of tape on it. What? Was I holding it when I went downstairs or something? I'm very confused by the situation. Ah! The mystery thing that fell, that I didn't see what it was. It was my collar piece. Okay. So I'm gonna run the grain line. So, just to make sure, this is the bottom that gets attached to the shirt. This is where my face goes, and this is the center back. And I'm gonna put the center back on the fold, so I get one continuous piece. I could also refold the fabric to cut it somewhere else, but currently, I will need to cut a second piece as its own lining, or maybe I'll actually make a lining piece lining, because this fabric, it has this sort of felt-like texture from the top edge of the collar to the back panel. Oh yeah, that is exactly what it is. This has a kind of felt-like texture, and I feel that it might be itchy if you put it up against your skin. Not awful, actually. Oh, and there will be the collar of the shirt there anyway. So maybe it'll look fun if the collar is... Nah, I think it'll just look weird if it's lined in a different fabric. I will cut 2 of this when I'm satisfied with it and do it like a normal person. Alright, something like there. I'm going to cut the bottom a bit more generously than the top, because I'm not entirely sure where we're going to end up. don't think we're gonna need to make it longer. Maybe a bit shorter. We'll see how it goes. Let's just tack it as well, so it's easy to see all the lines. Aw, thank you. But sometimes it pays to do things like a normal person. Though, because the fabric is so thick and bulky, I'm contemplating making some parts out of the lining fabric that would conventionally not be made out of a separate fabric, just to reduce the bulkiness of it. So I'm kind of thinking the same for the welt pocket, where normally you would have, well, the waistcoat itself out of this fabric, and then the flappy bit that goes in front of the welt pocket would be out of this fabric, and then also the facing on the inside of the pocket would be the same fabric. So it's all the same if you look into it. But I'm kind of thinking it'll be really thick and annoying. So I'm thinking I might do the inside facing a different fabric, which means you'll see like a tiny hint of the lining fabric at the top of the welt pocket, potentially. Which, if you don't want that, is not great, but if you do want it, then it's legit, right? Since it's the lining fabric, I'll just show you. So I've got this for lining. You can do crisscross edge cutting to the seam allowances. You mean like, sort of like pinking it? Or what do you mean? Come on, go in the needle. You can do it. Stop spinning. Wow, some thread is more annoying than others. You put a zigzag line on each side, but where the high point is on one side. Oh! So, wait, if I understand correctly, you've got 2 scraps of fabric, and you do something like this, and something like that. And then when you overlap it, you make it so that it's sort of like that. I'm sure you can see that. So instead of making, like, if I do it like this, all the teeth line up. And then you're saying do it like that, so they all sort of overlap. I guess that would make it less, like you would get a less obvious line where the fabric ends showing through the fabric. So that's it? Okay. That seems like an option. I also have a different, actually, now that I think about it, I've also got a different kind of burgundy lining fabric. It's exactly, well, it's not exactly the same kind of purple but burgundy, but it's very close. And this, at some point, was going to be a corset lining, but now is not. I could actually do the back of the welt pocket out of this, and it would be a lot less obvious if it's showing, but it would still be thin. That's actually... I am being smart today. I think that's what I might do. I'm not going to do that for the collar because having that sort of shimmery lining fabric inside the collar is going to be super weird, but... Ah, come on, why is there a knot in this? Stop being like that. Oh. Come on, come out. It's too warm for this kind of struggle. I did not wax the thread because it's just basting thread. Ah, I got it out. Yeah, I could also just grade the edges. I actually like the crisscross grading style, I think, because it even further reduces whether you can see the edge through the fabric, I think. I'm going to try it sometime. Where I would normally just grade it, I'm going to do the crisscrossy thingy. It seems neat. Alright, I think that's it. Let's open her up. Okay, let's see if I've got a collar. Whether this will go on or not. I'm gonna machine baste it? That seems like a reasonable option. Oh, crap. I kind of need the shoulder seams to be together for this to make sense, right? Oh yeah, this is something I thought about a while back and then forgot. Is that I should probably assemble all of the outside, all of the inside, put it together, do the shoulder seam flippy thingy, and then attach the collar as like the last thing. But I just want to try it though. And grading the edge vanishes completely? By grading, do you mean just cutting every layer of fabric at different length when you trim the seam allowance? Because that's what I know that word to mean. Which has like... It does a good job, but not entirely. I think I'm just gonna... I want to know whether the collar fits or not. So I'm gonna just baste the shoulder seams together and put it on and then take it off again. Hey. Okay, so then what do you mean by grading the edge? Where'd my thread go? I had a needle with some basting thread still in it somewhere here, right? I just used it. Where is it? Today is the day that I lose things, apparently. Nope, 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 nothing. I'm gonna just machine baste it, because screw it. Let's make sure I'm at least doing shoulder seams like the right arm to the... Because I want to know whether the collar fits, and that's more important than doing extra work. And the other one. And then after I figure out whether the collar fits, I guess I'm gonna cut the facings and the lining and just assemble the inside. You cut on the seam line on one side. You unravel the seam. Oh! You actually unravel it? So if you unravel it all the way to the stitch line, is the seam not gonna pull out? I don't think I... Huh. Never heard of that. I always thought that the best thing was just to sort of clip them to different lengths. Alright. Hello? I'm stuck. Alright, I'm just gonna put this to 4mm stitch or 5mm or something. And just throw it together in a way that's easy to get it out again. Ow! Just so I can try my collar. This is folded all wrong. Alright, now let's put a collar on, just for show, and then take it off again and then do the whole lining business. Where did I put it? I'm just gonna also mark the center back. You're referencing every second clip? Oh. I have to look into that. It seems really interesting. And like one of those tricks that maybe are not applicable everywhere, but when they are good, they're really good. That makes sense? Where is the exact center of the back panel? Whoops. It's here. All right, let's match these up then. Like, let me just make sure I'm doing this. Yeah, if I put them together like this, this flips up and it all makes sense. Okay, I got this. This is not lined up at all. Hold on. It's a bit of a struggle. Okay, that seems about right. Oh wait, I should probably mark where the edge of the collar goes on my pattern piece. That helps with lining it up. Where is the thing? So, this goes here. And it tells me that my collar should end there. And on the other side, here. Alright, let's line that up with the corners of my collar and then see if we can fit the rest of it in. Theoretically, yes, because I like measured it, but you never know. It looks like it's gonna fit. That's nice. It's at least approximately the same length. Please line up, please. I need to stop being antsy about 1mm because I'm just basting it on anyway and then taking it off again. Yeah, time to be less precise. I need to remember sometimes that about right is about right. Does it feel like a coffee machine or a bike is running in the background and music? It's probably not in the music. It's probably outside my window where there is a street and occasionally scooters and stuff are driving by. I have some noise cancellation or like noise reduction on, but it can occasionally make it through, I suppose. So you're probably not imagining it. Let's also just quickly base this on and see whether it's any good. Sometimes like if you just have to play things. Oh yeah, you know, sometimes you open web pages and they start running ads automatically or something, and you're like, where is the noise coming from? And you have to click through several tabs. It's the worst. Alright. Let's just give this a quick stitch. And then see whether my theorizing about collar angles has made any sense. I get to put it on again. Ooh! Why is this weird? It needs to be folded back a little bit. Okay. What is... Okay. Meep. What's sarcasm? I'm not sure what I said. About putting it on? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Well, hoo boy. Oh, ha! Ha! I get lucky for once. I ran out of bobbin just as I finished it. Boom! That's worth something. Alright. Trying it on time again. Boop. Let's see how this collar thing goes. I am, like, whatever this is now, I am not gonna go put the other shirt back on to see how it interacts with the other collar. Just screw that. Let me get my hair out of the way real quick. It pops. Hold up. I feel this is reasonable, if not a bit short. Well, not short like up to my ears short, but I mean, it's a bit too far back. Maybe? Let me just make sure it's sitting where it's supposed to. I'm gonna close up the front a little bit to make sure I'm not tilting it forward or backwards. It's gonna be a true joy as well. But hey, it's for science. You've gotta make sacrifices for science. Ow! Like, stabbing yourself with a pin is also bleeding for science. Alright. I feel like some of my tacking is coming out, which is not great. Alright, it's on. And the collar, just move a bit to make sure it settles where it's supposed to. Alright. Let's fold this down a little bit. Which side of the pin is in your mouth? Oh, it's always the round end. I'm not gonna stab myself in the tongue as well. So, how do I feel about this? I'm gonna just fold. I just thought, oh, I'll just take it off and I'll fold over the edge, but maybe I won't. It's potentially as tall as the collar, so maybe I need to make it slightly shorter. And I'm having a hard time telling in the webcam whether the how smooth the transition is between the two parts. Need to get a bit closer, I suppose. That looks like a fairly smooth continuing line, right? It's like legit pretty good. And by that, I mean where it goes from collar, 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 front, 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 front. Actually, it could be a little bit more pointy towards the end, but honestly, pretty nice. I am not entirely sold on where it sits with regards to the fact that it's ending about here, and I feel like it should end a bit closer to the front, maybe. And the back is buckling a bit, I guess, because it's too tall. Like it's... You know how the back of your head goes a bit backwards from your neck? Like it goes... Like you've got neck and then back of head goes a bit like that. I think it's running into that, so maybe it should be a little bit shorter. But generally, I think it makes sense where it ends up. Like, I don't know. For science, I will pin some things and try again. I'm gonna go just make it a little bit shorter. So, oh, there's still a, oh, that might have also explained why it was sitting weirdly. There's still a pin in here in the center back. I'm gonna fold this over and make it like, whoops. As I was saying, this is the top edge of the collar. I'm gonna just fold it over and make it a little bit shorter. Like a centimeter, maybe centimeter and a half. And see whether that radically changes how it sits. Which it might do. Because it might not go up the back of my head quite as much anymore. Yeah, it does. The white thread is the seam allowance, or sort of that's the seam line, I suppose. So it does seem a bit, I don't know. And by short, do you mean how far it goes down the front? Like that it's too far, that the edge is too far back? Because that's the vibe that I'm getting from it. And that I will need to extend it a bit more even. Yeah. Exactly. I'm feeling the same thing, so I'm just gonna see whether making it a bit shorter in the back is gonna allow it to sit more nicely around my jaw. And if it doesn't, I'm just gonna make it longer. So bear with me as I put on a thing that is now full of pins that are gonna go around my face. Where did it go? Ah, here we are. Now this corner wants to fold out. Don't do that. Assuming this is closed about this much. The difference between making it a little bit shorter is huge. Like, it doesn't wrinkle nearly as much in the back. This looks really nice from the front, actually, because the like the line from, hold up, you've sort of got it closed. I'll just put another pin in. To close it up, wait, this has way too much overlap. That can't be right. My boobs are not that far apart. What's going on? I feel like the bust line is suddenly weird. But when I overlap it as much as I think it needs to overlap, that it moves to where it's not supposed to be. Anyway, let me just pin that shut. So what I was trying to say. Extreme versions, they left only enough place for the lips to show. Oh yeah. Like, I definitely, when I put on the shirt collar parts about here-ish. So I figure the waistcoat would need to be a little bit further back from that. Right now it's further back than I thought it was going to be. But I do really like the fact that if you see it from the front, you get a smooth line from here to down there. Though I guess you get the same smooth line if you move it forward a little bit. It's just different. It's not bad, honestly. I like it, but I think I would like it more if I made it a little bit longer still. And I think shortening it in the back is correct, because it sits way better now. So let's make it a bit longer. I think the tilt is fine. Like, I think it looks smooth going up the back. Not jammed into my neck. It's just sort of comfortably going up. Right? Wait, there's actually a slight... There's a slight bit of pulling that I'm feeling here, but I can't... Yeah, you can see a bit of wrinkling going from here up to there, which I think is reduced if you pull this further down, because either you would need to, yeah, so actually I think I need to make the front a little bit shorter. Well, not like, it needs to go more like this, not, and it also needs to go more like that. Yep, let's do it. So So, from a pattern perspective, we move. Let's do another this much. I don't know. I'll measure it. I'll make it a nice number. Oh, hey! I found my needle with my basting thread. I grabbed into it. That was a great experience. There we are again. So, let's move it another 1.5 centimeters down, like there. And then let's take the pattern piece. So I think this slope needs to be a little bit less downward because I was getting some pulling like this. And I feel that if you make this more like that pulls it out, if that makes sense. There's a bit more pull from this corner. And you get that by making this a bit shorter. And let's get more scrap paper and tape out. This pattern piece is going to be made up of mostly tape by the time I'm done. Actually, if I extend it just at the back, it will be functionally the same as extending the front and then making it go up a bit, right? Because relatively, if I extend the back, the point that was here becomes the point that was there. Like, the part where this point used to be attached moves further down the front of the... Yeah, it makes the slope less extreme. Yeah, I'm gonna extend the back. That's good. I like that. I think this logic adds up. Fixing two problems at once. That's the 1.5 mark. Oh yeah, and I was gonna take some off the top. How much was I gonna take off? Also about 1.5. So let's get rid of that. Also, the pulling might get less if I give it a bit more space there. Because if it pulls like that, if you give it more space in one of those corners, it will stop pulling. And I can't give it more space here because that's the corner. It's not attached to anything. But here, I could extend that a bit. If you do a... I think that's also fixed by making the slope different. Yeah, I think this is probably fine. And I mean, I do get another try if I base this collar on and I don't like it, I'm gonna change it again. So, whatever. I've got plenty of fabric to make like 6 collars if I need to, so. Ooh, that'd be something. Imagine a jacket with 6 collars. Alright, new collar piece. I'm not gonna actually do this right now. What time is it? I think I'm gonna stream for about half an hour longer. And I'm just gonna remove all the temporary collar stuff that I did. And then get going on cutting the lining and the facings. And see whether I cut the seam allowances generously enough on this piece that this extension can actually go out of it. Or whether I have to cut a new piece. So I cut pretty generously, but I'm not sure I can scrounge a full 1.5 centimeters. Oh yeah, I think I've seen those. Well, I've seen some video called Dressing Up a Regency Gentleman, and I've seen some videos by Prior Attire. I'm not sure if they're the same one. But I'm gonna have a look at it. Okay. So, question number 1. If I want to use this... Oh, I think I might have enough. Nah, it's gonna cut it really close. Right. Yeah, this is a little bit too close for comfort. If I move it downwards, I gain a little bit, I suppose. It's possible, but it's not pretty. Well, this is a corner that was gonna be clipped anyway to be properly turned. So, I don't know. I'll pin it together so I remember that I changed stuff before I try to stitch this on again. And then I will get back to this sometime later. For that. So, facings. What have I got? I've got the back of the neck. And then I've got this whole center front thing that I still need to remove from the rest of the pattern. I'm going to just cut this apart. I guess maybe mark really clearly that this goes together. So I can tape it back together if I ever need to make another one. And then this part will be facing and this part will be lining. Okay, that old collar piece can go away. I think that's it for the facings. These two bits. Now, when I cut the main panels out, I had a narrow strip left over on the edge, which I kind of need it to be big enough for the facing, because otherwise I can't cut it on grain. So, let's see. This piece along the selvages, needs to fit this thing. Oh, it fits. This is excellent. I was kind of worried about that. Otherwise I'd have to, I don't know, cut it off grain or something. Because I'm definitely not going to go back to the fabric store to try and buy more. Not even sure if they still have, like, fabric store has, like, well, the one that I bought this from is not very organized. They just have a sort of a pile of bolts that you fish out what you need. But I'm not 100% that I could relocate the exact same fabric. So, glad it fits. It's the little things in life. Am I doing a full lining of the facing on top? Yeah, so I'm gonna take the facings and attach them to the lining pieces, and that will sort of together make a full lining, if that makes any sense. So I'm gonna make another full waistcoat, an inside-out waistcoat, where it is made partially of this and partially of lining fabric. To make it be more like if it's talking. If it sort of opens up on the front and you can slightly peek inside, it's still the same fabric that you see. It's sort of the same on the, so this commercial 21st century one has the same sort of deal where you've got some folded over, well, it's actually, some of it is folded over, some of it is a separate piece coming from the front, and then along the buttons and along the neckline is the outer fabric, and then along the armholes they've just understitched the lining fabric. So I'm gonna do something like that. I've seen some videos on doing this whole lining a waistcoat thing, and that's also where I got that shoulder seam last business. I'm gonna have to rewatch it before I like commit to it, but I think I got this. And then a little neck piece this way up. So I should also cut this on the fold, I suppose, but it's such a tiny piece, I don't want to... Like, I could also cut it out of somewhere a bit closer to the edge where it's not so much, I don't know. Then I end up with an asymmetrical piece of cabbage. I'll just cut it from here, screw it. YOLO. Alright, that's it for the facings. And then we get lining pieces. Oh yeah, which also means that this is the facing line on the back. So that's also gonna come out. Or should I just like try to fold it back as I mark it? Nah, I'll cut it off. I'll make sure I know where to tape it back again. Okay. So, lining fabrics. Here we go. This looks quite narrow, actually. Why does it look so small? Let me measure that, because I don't trust this now. Where's my big ruler? Downstairs, probably. That's too bad. Well, this cutting mat is how long exactly? 14, 15, 30 centimeters exactly. So we've got 30, 60. And then before we reach the crappy part of the selvage, got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 37, 67. So it's not the full 70. I hope I have enough then. Well, I need to cut a little bit less from this and from the other fabric, so I guess that's exactly the extra bit I need. I think I'll be fine. So this goes along the fold. And then we've just got make sure my grain lines are good. Is this actually, oh, it's a stripy fabric. How much do I care about pattern matching the stripes? Ooh, this is, So wait. Oh, this is messing with, like, I don't have OCD, and I don't want to joke about OCD, but if I did, this would mess with it. You see how the floral pattern that's on it doesn't actually line up with the stripes in the fabric? I mean, it's both going that way, but this dot is not right on the edge of a line. It's sort of in the middle. And then the dot over there, which you just can't see off camera, here, that one is right in the middle of a line. That's infuriating. And I think that is also my free pass to not try to pattern match any of this. There we go. Talk myself out of it. Well, this ends approximately halfway down a red stripe, and I think I can accidentally pattern match that, so let's do that. Take it where you can get it. Oh, it's a bit shorter on the bottom because of how it was cut, I suppose. I need to move that up a bit. And here we end just on the edge of the stripe. That's not gonna match, but that's okay. Unless, what if I put this here? I can put that here. And then, ooh, if I line them up like this, it's actually, at least as far as the colors of the stripes are concerned, on the waistline, it will look nice and smooth. Let's do it. Yep, let's do it. Because I can. See, pattern matching is a lot better when you told yourself you're not gonna do it and then you low-key do it anyway and you get to feel good about the upgrade you just made. It's all reverse psychology. Is that right? I want what this goes there, and I wanted it to be mostly dark stripe. Right. Alright, cutting time. Wow, that's a nice jagged edge that I made. Look at that. It's horrendous. Fortunately, I cut it quite generously so I can touch it up. There. Almost like I know what I'm doing. Yes, definitely. I don't quilt, but like I have a hard time throwing bits of fabric away because you might need a tiny piece at some point in time. So only the tiniest of cabbage goes in the trash. Why do you say that you can see me make a quilt? What about me screams or suggests that I might quilt? This is not an accusation, by the way. It's just, I'm curious. What made you think... What made you associate me with quilting? Because I have never quilted in my life. Seems like a lot of effort to make a nice looking blanket. You can make me one? That's really nice of you. But I don't think I am the quilting kind of person. Oh! That is quite possibly true. Though honestly, if you're making quilts out of teensy pieces like this, I do not envy you. Like, I could see doing, I don't know, something that's twice as big. Yeah, I just don't think it's mine. Though, honestly, I have watched some, like, I was watching someone stream quilting on Twitch, and they were making, like, pixel art quilts. They would just take some art from video games, like a Pokemon or something, and cut a bunch of, it was just all squares quilt, some rectangles, and just recreate pixel art using fabric squares. That was kind of neat, but still, after that, I'm just not sure what you do with that when it's finished. Except, like, put it on the couch or something. Alright, not my finest cutting ever, but whatevs. Trim the bottom edge a bit. Alright. So now the question is... Yeah, mosaic quilts, that's pretty much what it was. Am I gonna tack all of this? Because I hate tacking. And I don't think I need to be as exact with the lining as I was with the main thing. If anything, the lining needs to be just a smidge bigger than the actual thing, just so that it doesn't ever pull on anything from the outer fabric. So ideally, I would have cut a little bit extra on the center back and just pleated it to give it some extra space, but I didn't, clearly. So I think I'm just gonna stitch the seams all like a smidge larger or something. Like start at the correct point so that all the outside edges are still the same length as the main thing, but then veer out a little bit and give it a bit extra space there. I think that adds up. Yep. Can't go back and cut it on the center back, so I'll have to do it differently. I think I'm gonna just chalk this because I don't feel like attacking it. So, dear Prim Pencil. Here we go. Wow, this is really static. They're not even falling out. What is this? I'm not sure if that's a bug or a feature. And the gray one from before goes in here. Alright. White chalk, please. There we go. Okay. I'm gonna mark the bottom edge, but it's probably not gonna end up being the actual bottom edge because I've also got the extra length on the main thing that's gonna fold over like a facing. But we'll see where we end up. Probably needs a little bit of extra space there as well to not be pulling on anything, so I'm gonna leave it marked and maybe I should tack it anyway because we've got the stripes, and when I ironed it I made really sure that all the stripes lined up so that they're the same on the front and the back, like through both layers. And if I chalk one piece and then flip it over and approximately put this on the other side, it's gonna be not exactly the same anymore. How much is that gonna bother me? How much? I think it's gonna bother me an amount. So, oh, also this would be hell to chalk it here. Oh, wait, this is actually the good side. And the pattern is not that much here, so I should probably chalk the bad side as well. Alright, oh, I could use one of those tracing wheel thingies with the chalk paper. That would work. That would get it exactly the same, right? It would still chalk the wrong side, unless I separate it. Iron marking? What is iron marking? I don't think I've heard of that. Let me Google that. Also, it's about dinner time, so maybe I will make up my mind about this. I'm getting a lot of branding irons, but that's probably not it. Iron marking system. No, this is about engraving metal. So if you could explain what iron marking is, that would be great. And then afterwards, I'm just gonna call it a day, make some dinner, and probably end up tacking this anyway. Even though I was trying not to. I've done it before where the side of the fabric didn't matter that much and I would just put chalk paper underneath. And then as I traced it with the pencil, it would also make the same mark on the back. That was good, but it doesn't fly here. You fold up the seam allowance and give it a quick pass. Oh, right. So you would do that with the pattern still pinned to it, so you get the right line. So I would just sort of take it and fold it like, sort of fold it like that, and then iron it like that. Ooh, that also sounds like an interesting option that I might be interested in trying. Seems a bit fiddly with the curves, so that's why but even if you just do all of that and then tack the curve, that saves a bunch of effort. Well, thanks a bunch for pointing out that option to me. I'm going to consider doing it, but first I'm going to cool down a bit and, oh yeah, no worries. I'm going to cool down a bit and make some dinner and then maybe work on it, maybe not. I was also playing a lot of Minecraft this weekend, so I'm not sure. So anyway, thanks everyone for joining. Hold it onto the pattern. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Just fold it that way. Thanks for joining and hanging out with me. Next week, I think I'm not gonna do this next week. I think I've shown some of the interesting stuff about it, and further assembly is not necessarily that interesting. And I'm really interested in doing the bead stuff. So next week is going to be either embroidery but with beads too, or embroidery but with only beads, or weaving beads. It's gonna involve beads, maybe other stuff. We'll see how it goes. I made some cabochons last night out of polymer clay. Hold up, I'm gonna show you. Because I was watching a lot of YouTube tutorials about people like embroidering like beads around cabochons. Like they stick it onto some felt and put beads everywhere around it. So it looked really cool, so I made these polymer clay thingies. And they actually glow in the dark a bit. I'm not even... probably not that charged right now because the room is quite dark. So maybe put some beads around these. Who knows? So thanks for hanging out, and I will see you next week, and I hope you have a great evening.